The desert night stretched like a wound under the bruised sky, and the storm's growl rolled low across the sands, promising more than rain. Arya squinted through the cracked windshield, her car rattling with each gust of wind. Her camera bag, set on the passenger seat, humming faintly like something alive. She ignored it. She'd been chasing dead motels for weeks, but this one had no GPS location, no Yelp review, no name she'd ever seen. Just a blood-red neon sign ahead. Blinking, Vacancy Motel Grin and Bear, with a giant clown face grinning so wide its eyes looked sad. As she lifted her foot off the gas, the engine sputtered and died. 30 feet behind her, Felix Phil Delacroix slammed the steering wheel of his beat-up van. "You gotta be kidding me," he shouted into the humid silence. The radio played. Circus music for a second, then static. Fizz's tired eyes darted to the side ahead. "No way," he whispered, laughing without humor. Of all places. He stepped out into the storm, his painted face smeared from a kid's party hours ago, makeup clinging to old sweat. The laughter on the radio came back suddenly, but it wasn't his. A siren wailed once, then died. Rosa Martinez popped the hood of her stalled ambulance, her fingers shaking. Her patient had flatlined hours ago en route from Tonopah, and now even death had no destination. "Dios mío," she whispered, crossing herself. The motel loomed ahead like a corpse propped up to wave. As she reached for her pager, it beeped once. A number appeared, room 13. Her breath caught. That room didn't exist in hospitals. Not anymore. Farther down the road, Zeke Harper cursed. The rain, the road, and everything in between. His rig, Old Bonnie, hadn't failed him in 30 years. Until now. The lights on the dash blinked erratically like Morse code. He checked his side mirror and flinched. The neon clown was reflected there, closer than it should have been. And its mouth moved. "Don't be stupid," he muttered. "It's just a motel." But Bonnie's doors wouldn't lock. They all arrived at once, strangers in the storm. The lobby door creaked open before anyone touched it. Inside, the carpet was sticky and smelled of cotton candy and rot. A jukebox in the corner played a warped version of Send in the Clowns, even though no power seemed to run through the place. Felix muttered, "Feels like the setup for a joke, right? 4 people walk into a haunted motel... No one laughed. Anyone else feel like we're being watched?" Arya asked, her voice cracking slightly. She lifted her camera instinctively. The flash went off. The photo developed on her Polaroid. Instantly, she frowned, shaking it. Her hands trembled. "Guys, this picture... I'm lying on the floor, throat slit." They stared. The image was unmistakable. Rosa took a step back. "This is wrong. Something's wrong." Felix turned toward the desk. A waxy figure sat motionless behind the counter. Its eyes were painted on, but they followed movement. "Hey, we need rooms or a tow truck," he said, unsure if he was joking. The clown figure's mouth split slowly, wax cracking as if smiling. The speakers above crackled. A laugh track burst out, too loud, too distorted. Then silence. The lights flickered. A key slid across the counter by itself. Room 13. No one touched it. The temperature dropped. Rosa's pager buzzed again. Code BLUE room 13. Zeke stared at the floor tiles. They'd changed. Now they were patterned like a spiral, leading toward the hallway. The front doors slammed shut behind them with the finality of a coffin lid. They stood in a circle, the key. At their feet, none willing to pick it up. Then, a voice echoed from the lobby speakers. Low, slow, guttural. Grinners don't like late check-ins. Something passed behind the frosted glass to the left, stretching tall and thin, arms too long, too soft like deflated balloons. Aria backed away. What was that? No one answered. Suddenly, the lights cut out. The laughter returned. But now, it came from inside the hallway. The hallway was a winding tunnel of flickering lights and faded murals of circus acts, contortionists with heads twisted backward, smiling strongmen with eyeless sockets, clowns that stretched the length of the walls, their painted grins peeled and curling like dead skin. Aria clutched her camera like a weapon, her fingers slick with sweat. Every flash of lightning through the boarded windows cast shadows that danced, but didn't belong to anyone in the group. They're moving, she whispered, staring at the clown paintings. They're following us. Felix laughed nervously. You mean the paintings? But even he didn't sound convinced. Zeke took the lead, grunting as he pushed forward. This place is just old and broken down. Ain't no such thing as ghosts. But he didn't sound so sure anymore. His boots stuck slightly to the floor, as though the motel itself were breathing, exhaling syrupy air that smelled like blood and sugar. Behind him, Rosa's pager buzzed again. She didn't look. She couldn't. But the others could hear the faint voice from it now. A child's voice, hoarse and wet. Help me, room 13. Trade places. They passed a cracked mirror hanging between two doors. Aria's breath caught in her throat as her reflection lagged a half-second behind. Worse, her reflection smiled. When she didn't, it raised a hand and waved slowly, fingers bending like rubber. No, 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 she stammered, turning away. But Zeke froze. Did you see that? He whispered. There was someone behind us. In the mirror. Felix glanced back. Nothing. Just their own anxious faces until for a split second, a fourth face appeared above theirs. Upside down. Laughing. The hallway narrowed. The lights popped one by one behind them with audible snaps. Something was herding them forward. Each door they passed had a number, but the numbers repeated, rearranged. Room 6, room 9, room 11, room 6 again. The walls stretched, elongated like a carnival mirror funhouse. We're not going in circles, Rosa muttered. The layout's changing. Felix pulled out his key, now marked room 13, even though he was sure it said room 8 before dot. As they stopped at the door marked 13, the doorknob turned on its own. From the other side came that canned laughter again, followed by a knock-knock joke in a distorted child's voice. Knock! Knock! Silence! Who's there? Rosa whispered instinctively. You. The door creaked open before they could react. Inside was a stage. Velvet curtains rotted at the edges. A spotlight clicked on, illuminating a dusty microphone. Rows of empty red theater seats lined the room. One seat moved. Someone was sitting there. Felix stepped inside first, drawn to the stage. I used to do this," he whispered. "Back when people loved me," his voice cracked. The room shifted subtly, the seats now filled with blurred, shifting faces, all laughing, then booing. He dropped the mic. "That's not real. That's not real." The spotlight followed him off stage, almost like it was disappointed. He covered his ears, shaking. Zeke wandered to the back of the room where a wall of CRT monitors buzzed with static. Then, suddenly, they flickered to life. Grainy black and white footage showed a highway at night, his truck, a boy on a bike, screeching tires. Zeke staggered back. This isn't fair," he choked. "That wasn't my fault." But on the screen, the child stood back up, waving and pointing to the screen, mouthing, "You did this." Aria lifted her camera and snapped a shot. The image slid out. But this time, it showed all four of them bound to theater seats, eyes wide open, mouths sewn into grotesque smiles. She screamed and dropped the photo. Rosa reached down to grab it, but froze as she felt breathing behind her neck. Not wind, not a sea, something tall, something wet. She turned and saw nothing. But in the reflection of the camera lens, a translucent clown figure bent toward her, its face split ear to ear in a grin. Her lips quivered. "They're behind us." Then, the laugh track cut out. All the lights blinked. The theater seats were empty again, except one. Aria's photo lay crumpled in it, fresh blood blooming in the shape of a handprint. They ran back into the hallway, though there was no direction to run in anymore. The corridors twisted into impossible geometry, doors stacked on ceilings, staircases descending into themselves. Zeke swore loudly, gripping the handrails as the hallway sloped unnaturally downward. "It's the damn motel," he growled. "It's turning into a maze." Felix stopped to catch his breath, sweat pouring down his face. "No, it's a funhouse. We're rats in a joke, and I think we're the punchline." Above them, the intercom buzzed back to life with a distorted horn honk, followed by a voice that gurgled, "Time for the next act." Rosa's pager buzzed again, louder this time. The screen flashed, no longer showing numbers but her own face, bruised and screaming, begging, "Let me out." She dropped it, and it shattered like glass, but the voice continued from inside the speaker. "Code Blue, Code Blue, you must take their place." She pressed her hands over her ears, crying, "This place wants to trap us in our own sins." Aria turned toward her. "Then maybe it's trying to judge us, use guilt as bait." Her voice cracked. "Maybe if we confess or face it, it lets us go." But no one looked convinced. Felix looked down at the key in his pocket. It had changed again. Not a number this time, just a phrase etched in deep, jagged letters. "Last laugh." He pocketed it with trembling fingers. "I need to try something," he said, eyes darting toward a side hallway. "Where are you going?" Aria asked. The theater. If it wants a show, I'll give it one. Clowns don't quit mid-act. His lips twitched with madness, and he sprinted into the shadows before anyone could stop him. Zeke and Aria chased after him, but the hallway shifted again. This time, the floor turned into checkerboard tiles that rippled like water. Doors vanished. Rosa was gone. Where is she? Aria asked. Zeke just shook his head. Gone, just like the others. Aria backed up into a wall only. It wasn't a wall anymore. A soft breathing surface pulsed behind her like inflatable rubber. A handprint formed beneath the skin. Then a clown's face pressed outward, mouth opening in silent laughter. Aria screamed and bolted, dragging Zeke toward the front lobby. They burst through, expecting the exit. But instead, they found a velvet rope and a sign. Line for confession next up. 2 remain. The wax clown at the desk was melted now, slumped in his chair, mouth wide open. From its gaping lips came a record scratch voice. Truth or joke? No refunds. Felix's laughter echoed from somewhere below. It didn't sound human. Suddenly, the wax clown's mouth moved again. But it wasn't speaking this time, it was chewing. Strings of red candy, wet with gore, dangled from its chin. Aria turned away, gagging. Behind her, the room darkened. A single spotlight now lit the corner. Felix stood on stage again, this time talking to someone they couldn't see. I was just trying to make people happy, he said. I didn't mean to hurt the kid. I didn't know she had a seizure condition. The balloon's God, it was just a stupid act. The laughter that followed was cruel, mocking. A grinner stepped onto stage beside him, draping a long arm over Felix's shoulder. Zeke grabbed Aria's hand. We're not dying here, he said. We have to get out. We can't let this place use us up. But then his other hand opened. In his palm sat a new key identical to Felix's. Last laugh. Aria looked down and gasped. Her own camera had changed too. Where once it developed instant images, it now spat out strips of film showing future events, her own death. Suffocating in a red balloon, behind them, Rosa emerged from the dark different. Her uniform was stained, her face pale, lips smiling too wide. I understand now, she said softly. We don't escape the motel, we join it. She raised her hand. Her fingers bent the wrong way. You just have to perform the right act. Zeke backed up. She's not real. That's not Rosa anymore. Aria looked at the balloon-colored veins crawling up Rosa's neck. She confessed. The motel took her pain. It used it. Rosa nodded slowly. It's your turn now. Don't be afraid. Laugh with us. The lights dimmed again. Canned laughter exploded through the speakers, deafening. In its gaps, something dragged across the floor-long arms, slapping linoleum. One grinner, then another, then dozens. Aria and Zeke turned as the grinners slithered into lobby, their grotesque limbs bending like melting taffy, balloon-popping noises echoing with each movement. Their mouths stretched open, revealing teeth made not of enamel but of cracked porcelain. Behind them, Rosa watched with a strange peace, her head slowly tilting from side to side. "Don't run," she said in a dreamy voice. "It's worse. When you run," her smile split wider, but funnier too. Zeke pulled Arya through a side hallway, slamming the door behind them, but the laughter bled through the walls like a disease. They stumbled into the motel kitchen, once used for greasy circus food, now filled with mannequin limbs and half-deflated balloons that twitched on their own. On the far wall, a clown calendar flipped on its own until it landed on April 13th. 1965, the day of the fire. "It's all a loop," Arya whispered. "We're caught in their joke. It started here. It always starts here." Suddenly, the lights flickered back on, brighter than ever. The door behind them opened slowly. Felix stood there, but not as they remembered. His painted smile was now carved into his cheeks. He held the microphone in one hand like a scepter. "I finished the act," he said softly. "They loved me again. They said I could stay." He looked at Arya. "But there's only one slot left open. It's you or him." His eyes burned. With something no longer human, Zeke grabbed a nearby pan, brandishing it like a weapon. "You try to touch her, I'll put you down, clown or not." Felix just laughed. "No need for violence, Zeke." He stepped aside, revealing another door behind him. A golden placard above it read, "Final performance, curtain call." A faint red light blinked inside, slow and rhythmic, like a heartbeat. Arya hesitated. "That's the exit." Felix smiled wider. "Or the spotlight. Same thing here." Inside was the theater again, but different. Seats now filled with faceless figures in clown masks, breathing softly in sync. The stage floor was cracked. A noose hung from the rafters, not a rope, but a string of red balloons tied tight. The microphone stood alone, lit by a spotlight. The intercom crackled. "Tell the truth. Get the laugh. Lie, and you'll become part of the act." Arya stepped forward. Zeke reached out to stop her, but she pulled away. "No, it's me. I started this. I wanted to photograph this place. I called it to us." She took the stage, breathing fast. "My name is Arya Chang. I watched my sister drown when I was 12. I didn't help. I was too scared. I took a photo instead of reaching for her hand." The audience was dead silent. Then, applause, slow, mocking, the laughter rose, rising. Into screaming pitch, a balloon burst. One of the faceless clowns stood and began walking forward. "That's not enough," it said in Rose's voice. "Tell the real joke." Arya choked. "What do you want from me?" Felix stepped onto the stage now. "They want you to make them laugh, to hurt, to perform." Arya lifted the mic. "Fine. A joke." She forced a smile. "What do you call 4 lost souls in a desert motel?" A pause. "Dead meat." Suddenly, every figure in the audience stood. They began clapping, faster and faster. Zeke ran toward the stage, shouting her name, but a grinner rose between them, its head bending sideways to grin directly into Zeke's soul. He collapsed to the floor, twitching. Arya looked into the lights. "Is that enough?" She screamed. "Is that what you wanted?" The lights blinked once, twice, then total darkness.